Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Pabau Podcast. I'm your host, Alex, and in this podcast, we'll cover everything that you need to kickstart and grow your business. Along the way, you'll get to meet some amazing people, from clients to Pabau staff members, as well as industry experts and consultants. We'll cover a wide range of topics from lead generation, overall marketing strategies, as well as day-to-day operations and best practices as well. Make sure to like and subscribe for more awesome content. Today, for episode 2, we have a very special guest that flew in, especially from the UK, to meet us. We have Joe Leek here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe, for coming.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's like crazy weather in Macedonia, so just adjusting to the heat a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me on.
Excellent. So we'll cover a couple of different interesting topics that we also talked about in the at the airport and while we were flying over here. So we have some amazing content for you guys today. Just to give you a bit of a background, Joe founded a company called Patient Centrum, which he'll talk about at the moment. If you could give us a bit of a background on
Absolutely. So I founded Patient Centrum about 2 years ago. I started off as like the kind of classic marketing company where you work with a clinic and you help them get lots more clients. But one thing I realized, the main problem in the industry is that most marketing agencies, when they work with a clinic, they usually don't take into account three things. The first, brand reputation of the clinic, is they're constantly discounting. Secondly, is the types of clients they attract. They tend to attract price sensitive, discount hunting, tire kicker clients. And thirdly is the retention of those clients. So usually there'll be that classic single treatment, single visit client. And I basically noticed that was the trend across all the marketing companies, and a lot of my clients and the clinics we work with, they really care about those three things specifically. So at my company, Patient Centrum, we basically formulated a very specific marketing approach, which actually involves in-house doctors and medical professionals to work alongside the clinics we work with and our clients. And we basically, just formulated an approach which specifically captures the benefits of marketing, so getting clients fast, but at the same time takes into account those three factors and protects that on behalf of the clients we work with.
Excellent. That sounds very interesting, and you've been doing some amazing job. I know that, as you mentioned, your marketing agency is very different in terms of the approach that you have with generating leads for the business or potential clients, and also working on that retention side of things. We could talk about marketing in general a bit for the beginning, and then we can get into some awesome topics like, for example, AI, automation, retention of clients, things like that.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, as a clinic, marketing, there's really two kind of approaches that a clinic takes in order to get new clients. And there's that short-term growth strategy, and then there's the long-term. With the long term, it's kind of social media content, SEO, getting a good website in, posting on social media, just basically so if anybody searches you up and they know that they want a treatment from a clinic, it's basically allowing you to be seen. Now, when it comes to short-term marketing, this is where a clinic would usually kind of look to hire a marketing agency. It's the ones that really want to strap like another 20, 30 clients on per month of new patients.
On like a long-term approach.
Yes. So so they would basically look to do that over, 6 months and kind of get results instantly. And to do that, it's a very high pressure way of marketing. And usually it comes at the sacrifices of those three things we've spoken about, because if we're going to get clients in on the short term, we have to sacrifice something. Otherwise, why would somebody, take you up on a special offer or whatever it is you've got in your clinic? Why would they take you up in the initial instance? So, so with the short-term marketing, it's usually paid advertising. So that could be through Facebook ads and Instagram ads, or it could be through Google ads. Primarily Facebook and Instagram is where everybody's at. All the kind of target demographic, those women who are middle-aged with income.
Rarely seen, for example, YouTube ads
Yeah,
on that kind of campaign.
Yeah, so YouTube ads as a clinic, you definitely wouldn't want to be doing them. TikTok can work, although it relies a lot upon the creative kind of element. So you need to be very good behind a camera. And for most clinic owners, they don't want to do that. They just want to kind of sit back, hire someone in, which is why we primarily operate on Meta's platform, which is Facebook and Instagram. But yeah, there's kind of marketing in general. The landscape is that short term and long term, usually when they go for short term growth, they hire in a company to do it.
Cool. In terms of, for example, specifically for meta ads, let's say for Facebook and for Instagram, in your opinion, or in your expertise, what do you think is like the best type of format for those kinds of ads?
Yeah, so I mean, it really depends what you want, what you value. Everything is kind of specific. It's like, when you get a client for a consultation, somebody might want 8 mils of filler in their lips, and that they value that, but then another client might want natural results. So it depends on the clinic. But usually with short-term marketing, it's also on return on investment, ROI. And the problem with that is that you've got one solid outcome that you shoot for. And what marketing companies will do is they'll basically throw everything in the bin of reputation, types of clients, retention, in order just to hit that ROI goal in the short term. And to answer kind of your question, the way meta ads work, it's like walking down the street and interrupting someone. So like, say somebody is like, walking down the street, they've got aging concerns, and you just run up to them and you say, hey, our clinic does treatments. They're probably like, okay, well, that's quite rude. So usually what you would do on Facebook is that you would give a reason for you interrupting them. So you would run up to them and be like, hey, we've got these treatments and it's currently 50% off. And then they might consider it. So in terms of what ads to run, usually you would either add treatments in for free. So you might have like a hydrofacial, and when they get a hydrofacial, they also get a free session of microneedling. Or you might discount. So you might say, like, off your microneedling, you might say we've got a 50% discount for this month only, and we're only giving away 10 spots. So quickly click the link below and book in. So that's kind of the common misconceptions. That's kind of the common approaches that clinics take to get these short-term clients. And we've kind of got a different approach.
Yeah. I've seen actually quite a lot of businesses that operate in the sense of trying to get a new client or a potential client in with, for example, either a discounted service, but they don't really focus on that long-term aspect of retaining that client after that first consultation or after that first treatment, which is kind of like what you mentioned with the problem with short-term goals or short-term marketing, because you attract initially, for example, with a free consultation, or you attract with, let's say, discounted, let's say, for example, 50% or whatever it is. And then what it ends up happening is that they don't come back for the second, third, fourth, or fifth treatment. So I'm really interested to hear how your marketing agency is different to the rest, and what approach did you take that the listeners, of course, can also benefit from in terms of not just capturing potential clients, converting them into clients, but also like keeping them at a longer rate.
Yeah, so this is why we're called Patient Centrum. The way that you attract high-ticket clients and retain them, everything has to be centered around the patient's concerns. The minute you start advertising a treatment alone, you're basically attracting people to claim the offer and come for the treatment. Now, they'll come for the treatment, they'll come for the offer, but why would they come again if it's not discounted? And that's why the retention of discounting treatments on Facebook of the clients that you attract is so poor, is because it's focused around you and the clinic and the treatment. Now, when you keep everything centered around the patient, the way that retention works in aesthetics is fundamentally based around outcome. So you need to basically have a shift of your mindset, and don't see your treatments as the product, see the outcome as the product. and the treatments as the solution to achieve the outcome. It's like, the classic saying of don't sell the flight, sell the vacation. And that's what we need to do in aesthetics. So when we're marketing, we need to attract a certain type of client who is fundamentally concerned about, their aging and how it's affecting their life. And we need them to value having that completely removed, from their life and achieve this outcome. Without them necessarily needing to know anything about the treatments. When you can market to that type of client effectively, what happens is that you can then use your medical knowledge and your experience to say, okay, well, you'll need 3 courses of radiofrequency microneedling. You'll need Botox and top up every 3 months over the next 9 months. You'll need a procedure called endolift, which will just permanently torch the fat on your jowls. And basically, you're then packaging your treatments as the solution to get to the end goal, which is what that patient values. And then in turn, they come for their first visit, their first round of treatments, which will be Botox, microneedling, and maybe the initial endolift session. But then what they'll do, because in their framing of their mindset, they're already expecting to come back because they want the outcome. They don't want the treatment necessarily. And also what you can do in this sense is you can bundle it all together and say, over the next year, we're going to be doing this and following this treatment plan. You can either pay monthly and you retain them that way on a monthly recurring revenue basis, or you can get a paid in full depending on whether this client is affluent and they have disposable income. And you can basically say, for the next year, we're going to do this. It's going to get you this outcome. Here are our before and afters. And you can say, look, usually this would cost $3,000. But if you pay it today, you can get it for $2,500 and a free treatment of something like that, and upsell on the back end. But that's how retention works. You need to focus everything around the patient and the outcome and don't advertise the treatments. And that's fundamentally why we're called Patient Centrum, is we like to keep our marketing focused around the prospective patient as opposed to around the clinic's treatments. And that's how we tackle retention.
Very cool. On that note, I've also seen quite a lot of businesses that utilize packages for that very reason, because we can offer, for example, in that sense, a couple of sessions up front and then use those sessions as they go along. So if the outcome is what is most important and we focus on improving the customer experience as much as possible, then we'll build a long-lasting relationship with them, which is kind of the point. And if it's long-lasting, it's profitable, happy clients, happy business, and things like that. One thing that you mentioned previously in this bit is that, which is quite a interesting thing, is that you also have medical professionals that are a part of the marketing agency. I'm just curious about that as well, because why not hire like a standard, for example, marketing specialist, or hire somebody else in some other industry?
Yeah, so at our marketing agency, we have a team of doctors and medical professionals and nurses, all who have aesthetic experience and are qualified at least above a level 7. The reason why we have them on board is because following that theory of retention and basing everything around the patient, there's really 2 things that a clinic can physically advertise to grow in the short term. And that is, they either advertise their clinic and their treatments, or they advertise the opportunity for their local audience to get real medical advice surrounding their concerns, which is obviously based off the treatments the clinic offers. And as we were saying earlier, if we can keep everything around the patient and we address the patient's concerns rather than advertise the clinic, we attract this whole different type of client. And in order to do that, the clinic needs to be very involved. And the ad we run for all our clients, we work exclusively within a 5-mile radius with a client, which is why all our ads are able to look the same and we're able to collect the same data across everyone, is a free image assessment and treatment plan. And what that basically means is, like, we're not advertising the clinic's treatments. We're advertising the ability for the local audience to get medical advice based on a selfie that they send in. And then instead of it going to the clinic, because obviously, you know, as a clinic owner and as your staff, they're probably very busy already and they actually need to be doing the treatments and the consultations. That's why we have a team of medical professionals and doctors, is because we do the image assessment at the marketing agency. And what that actually allows us to do is, like, we're basically taking medical professionals and aesthetic professionals, but we're also skilling them up on sales and appointment setting. And when we're able to do that, when you combine real, like, medical advice with the right approach in appointment setting, discovering the pain points of the person, what do they value, you know, what have they had in the past, what didn't they like it, why would that be different at this clinic? When we're able to bring those factors together, that's how we turn those selfies into direct bookings onto Pabau. For the client with a £50 deposit each time. So that's why we have medical professionals, is because we understand that there's that overarching kind of factor that comes into attracting the dream patients. Again, avoiding the three kind of the three factors that clinics sacrifice when growing in the short term. And we've basically just formulated a system around how we can do this. And it involved bringing in a team of medical professionals. So that's what we did.
Cool. Very cool. Very cool. I was actually interested in why medical professionals specifically, but that makes quite a lot of sense. Apart from, for example, the initial stage or the initial phase of getting the potential client or the lead coming in for, let's say, the very first consultation or the very first treatment, what is the strategy in a long-term sense to actually keep them to come back?
Yeah, so it all comes down to setting expectations. Like we were saying at the start, we basically need to frame their mindset around outcome as opposed to getting a treatment. And when you like, clinic owners will probably know, is that first touch point that you have with that client sets it for the rest of the journey. If they were initially expecting to get a discount on a treatment, you will never be able to then shift that and have them buying a 1 year, 2 year treatment plan. So our initial strategy before bringing them into the clinic, at least in the first instance, is we use our medical professionals and the medical advice to basically base everything out on outcome. And we set that expectation in advance of them coming into the consultation, which basically means when they come into the consultation and they're actually talking to the clinic owner or, you know, whoever it is doing the consultation, their expectations are already in that mindset. So the clinic owner can just pick it up and get them on a treatment plan. So yeah, it fundamentally comes down to setting the expectations correctly. And a lot of our clients have actually told us that their consultation times have actually almost halved because we've already done the assessment of, well, at least as much as you can do from an image. You're not going to be able to do it all. But we've already assessed their image, we've addressed their concerns, and we provided them with certain treatments that they can take and what the price is based on that. And if they still come in for a consultation, having known the price, knowing the treatments, knowing the clinic, then they're so much easier to convert, as opposed to just somebody who's claimed a £50, a 50% off discount. They've just come into the clinic. Now they get being presented with a treatment plan, which is thousands of pounds. So yeah, we just help set that expectation initially. So when they go to the clinic, it can be then taken onto the long term and like increasing the lifetime value of the client.
Yeah, as the saying goes, there's no second chance for a first impression.
Exactly that. Exactly.
Yeah. I'm also interested in how do we set those expectations? What is the process that we can take to actually set those expectations, not just before the very first consultation, but also after the first consultation, the treatment, and etc. So that we like have a continuous communication, clear communication with the client, as well as keeping in mind that the outcome is the most important thing.
Aesthetics is a very emotional industry. It's very much built on trust. and emotion. And the way we kind of go about it in terms of the strategy of how we set the expectations, we've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Everything is about initially learning all the drivers that drives these prospective patients. What do they value? Like, what are they actually looking for? And now let's say in a perfect scenario, which is what we aim to do every single time, is that we completely understood the fundamental drivers of their insecurities, their confidence issues, how this is affecting their professional career, how their husband has started to pick up on certain, changes in their wife's face, God forbid. If we're able to perfectly identify those drivers, we can then position our clinic as the perfect solution to that. And what that does, it builds an emotional connection. And we're not just an aesthetic clinic anymore. We're now almost, a therapist, and we're a place where they can be themselves because we know, we understand them. So if we're able to build a connection based on based on emotion, and it goes deeper than just the treatments and the concerns, then we're going to have we're going to be in a much better position to be able to reach back out to them, contact them, call them, as a clinic. And that way we're going to basically, the better the relationship, that we have with those clients, even existing clients, the more responsive they're going to be to us on Instagram, to text messages, our automated, contact methods that we do to these clients. So that's fundamentally what that retention, to ace retention, it's all based on emotional connection.
Cool. It's also something that we took offline while we were traveling over here, specifically about client retention, that it's one of the most important things that businesses should be doing, and some of them might not be. I've read somewhere that about like 60-70% of businesses, or specifically, for example, in aesthetic, cosmetic surgery, etc., they don't recall clients that have came in, let's say, for example, half a year or a year ago, and have never come back for another treatment. So, and also, of course, the data says that it's cheaper and faster to get the existing clients to come back, to retain that client, than to get a new client. So I want to talk about also client retention in your expertise as well.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's a part of our service as well, is to, if a clinic doesn't do any existing SMS email marketing to their existing client base, it's one of the most guaranteed missed opportunities that there is in the industry in terms of getting more clients. It's like a little superpower. Most clients that come to us are the ones who need more growth, and they need more clients because they want to buy a new machine or open up a new location or hire another doctor. And we say, like, okay, like, we're going to do ads and we're going to attract dream clients and do all that. But, like, look, tomorrow we can put a text together and send it across the whole database, and we can teach them how to do it too if they use Pabau. And that's ultimately like when it comes, I think it's something like it's 3 times cheaper to retain a client than acquire a new one. Something crazy like that.
It's even more. Maybe I've been reading some US stats. There was like 4 to 5 times.
There you go. So, like, it's a huge opportunity, and the fact that that's maybe something that, the viewers today can take away right away. If you use Pabau, have a look and just have a play around, and you might just find yourself, you send a text message to your whole database, and you might have 20 new patients coming your way that you haven't seen in years. So it's something that they can take away right from this podcast, is definitely pay a lot of attention into reactivating those old clients.
In terms of communication, I've also seen like the difference in how much of an open rate there is and how much of a click-through rate there is for each type of, let's say, campaign or automation. It could be a single campaign, or it could be like a standard automation that you send. So, of course, SMS has a higher open rate. within like 15 minutes of delivery, there should be like 97%, while SMS has about like 40%. But it's useful to basically do both as kind of like a general strategy for either getting a client to reduce the no-shows for their appointment or to retain them long term. And yeah, definitely, for example, SMS campaigns or newsletters, or for example, automations or setting up those automations are very, very key in terms of retaining the clients, getting back the clients that have not been in the business for, let's say, the past couple of months or past couple of weeks, and then to maintain that relationship with them. Also, one thing that basically touches on retention, as well as having a good impression, as well as setting up the expectations that we're searching for the outcome, and the outcome is the main goal for the treatment with the client. Automations probably helps a lot. You've dealt with automations quite a lot, I believe, so we can talk about that as well.
Yeah, 100%. Automations, as a local business, especially if you're an established local business, if you've got a client list of over 1,000 contacts, to try and remember to text everyone and try and get through it as a clinic owner, you're already so tied up around, the day in, day out, which also, obviously Pabau helps with, but there's only so much you can do. There's still clients to inject, there's still staff to manage, etc. Automation is a fundamental part of an aesthetic clinic, and the ones that can successfully implement automations and like know how to use the certain functions in Pabau are the ones that can basically make the holes in the net smaller. So, your previous clients, that no one's going to be falling through the gaps. You're going to be basically always maximizing your clinic's potential in terms of getting new clients in through automation. And the good thing is like, you don't have to send all the text messages, call all the clients. So it's a really powerful function. And if a clinic can successfully automate, it also goes down to enterprise value as well. So if a clinic's looking to exit and potentially sell it to an investor, the more they can get their clinic running on its own without anything relying on the owner, and it just be staff-based, automations-based, and that staff know how to use the automations, your multiple when it comes to selling your clinic is going to be significantly higher, because when you exit the clinic, it's going to still run, and therefore the investor can put together its projections and really have a better understanding for what this is going to be like after you as the clinic owner have left the company. So automations are the biggest thing right now. Like, if you're not capitalizing on automations, you need to work with what you've got. If you're a user of Pabau and you're not using the automations and you're completely comfortable in where you are, then fair enough. But if you're a clinic owner who would value a couple more clients per month and you're not using the automations, then it's definitely something you should be looking into.
We also did a specific course on automations in Pabau Academy, and it basically goes down to how much of the admin work you want to automate to free up the time of the staff members to actually work on, for example, treating the patients, or work on other things that could help the patients or the business, as well as like boosting revenue, boosting bookings and things like that, because you can really get specific with the type of automations that you can run. Specifically, I've seen a couple of automations that I've even built for myself as like a test practice in Pabau, where the automation would run, for example, if somebody has not paid like an invoice. So little things like that could actually help with the outstanding invoices, that could help with the financial side of the business, as well as on the other side in terms of recalls, to get the client back in after they had an appointment, and if they have no appointments in the future. Or it could be as simple as, for example, a birthday email or a birthday text to let them know, happy birthday, we have a voucher for you, or you have a discounted treatment next time you come. So little things like that make a huge difference if you take into account the entire picture. And one thing that is probably the most important thing about automations is that you can laser target the audience that you're actually sending the automation to. So you can talk through us about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, they're your existing clients. You've already spoken to them. They already know, like, and trust you. So when it comes to putting these campaigns together, you're able to speak their language and they understand you, which is why it's such a lucrative opportunity. And you can also, separate the automations out for like what specific treatment did they come in for, and what did they say in the consultation, and link that back around to the types of text you send that certain client group. So yeah, I mean, targeting your existing client list compared to targeting on someone on Facebook, it's a world of difference. And it's actually something that a clinic owner, if they know how to use their resources properly, and the certain features that Pabau has, it's something that they can actually do very easily, without needing to hire in, a marketing company to target certain people on Facebook type of thing. So, yeah, it's a lucrative opportunity, 100%. And automation is, yeah, like we say, it's a big opportunity.
One thing that is really cool about automation specifically is not just the ability to have, of course, the data of the client, and also to have the option to target them specifically. It also comes down to the ability of how much you want to get creative at the end of the day. So for example, you can run 50 automations that are for a specific target audience, or it could be 50 different automations for different types of audience, and all of them can run side by side without interfering one another, because they have a certain goal to meet. For example, let's say you want the client to have their card on their file in their client card, so that they would be able to check out faster in, let's say, I don't know, in 2 to 3 seconds, instead of writing the information and taking like a minute to write that. You can run an automation about that, or for example, something else that you would like to inform the client about. So it could vary depending on the type of automation you run. A global if you look at it, for example, from the global perspective, you can see automations that are for marketing, automations that are for financials, automations that are for patient care, automations that are for leads, and things like that. So it's quite a broad category for getting back to, at the end of the day, client retention and improving the overall experience with the client, the long-lasting relationship, and things like that. In this case, for example, for automations, what do you think, in your expertise, is the best approach to capture the setting of the expectations, as well as the long-term growth and the long-term relationship with the client and the business?
I would actually say that with client retention, automation is a way of accelerating impact from the foundations that you have set. So let's say you have a conversation with a client and you build a great, you discover all their drivers, all their values, and what they care about. If you make a note of that on the contacts card, and you have the right automation set up, then you can basically, like, people can forget, people are the most forgetful when they acquire that piece of information on the first time. So that initial conversation, you're going to set the foundation. But then we can use automation to basically keep them around that idea and why they're doing it. So automation can help accelerate the positive interactions that you have at your clinic, by just keeping your clients remembering their why and why they came in and what they told you and the conversation that you had and what you said to them. So that's where I see automation being the power of maintaining relationships, is through accelerating that initial interaction that you shared with that client when they came in. It's keeping them around that idea and constantly reminding them of their why, because the best of us forget why they're doing something, right? So yeah,
that's very interesting, because it basically says that automations is a part of the foundation of the global user experience strategy that we're trying to build, right? So at the end of the day, they have a consultation with a doctor, and for example, if the doctor writes their information in a custom field, and then we pull using those custom fields automations, then we can accelerate that rate of retention, that rate of rebooking, of revenue, etc. Also, one thing that I wanted to talk to you about, we talked about this offline as well, and that would be AI. So we used quite a lot of features in Pabau that have AI, and I'm really interested to hear how AI helps you in terms of your marketing for the businesses.
Yeah, I mean, AI is basic. Like, if we break down what AI fundamentally is, if we can understand it, we can kind of reason as to why, we can use it and like where it fits. So AI is basically the transfer of information at scale. You can talk to it, or it can, make content at scale. The way that we use AI is primarily in making sure that, in paid advertising, a clinic is literally paying us and they're paying Facebook for the most return. And if we are weak in our follow-up, and if somebody texts us saying the price and they go unreplied to for a couple of hours, that could potentially be a lost opportunity. So in paid advertising, we custom train a clinic their own AI kind of receptionist, you could say, or treatment coordinator, patient coordinator. And basically what happens is, in between the period of our team of medical professionals contacting each inquiry, they're presented with an opportunity to ask a question, and then just like a couple seconds later, getting a specific reply to that clinic. So where they're based, their prices, their staff members, their opening hours, etc., and the offer. So yeah, we kind of use it to bridge the gap between human intervention and actually getting on the phone with them.
All right, that's a very good point, because at the HubSpot conference that we had this week in London, one point was related to automations, like how can you use automations and as well as AI, and they brought up a good point, which is basically what AI is and what AI isn't. So AI can be the infrastructure that you set in place, but at the end of the day is what kind of prompts you give it, how creative are you with what you actually generate. So it can produce a lot of value, but it's still related to the creative side of things or the human side of things. About, for example, sometimes we use for automations, we create those email templates within AI, but it's not really just what you write, it's how you rephrase it, how you remix it, etc., so that you have what you actually are searching for. So you have the infrastructure in place so that you would be able to take that away. So at the end of the day, it's of course knowing what AI is and how to utilize it the best. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about as well?
So just on that point, actually, funnily enough, like in SMS and email marketing, the campaigns which sound like the clinic owner has written them, maybe there's a lowercase, capital letter in there. This obviously depends on how you want to kind of portray your brand. If you're kind of a clinic which is more corporate, and you sign off by, the X clinic team, as opposed to Sarah from X clinic. But really the emails that do the best and the SMS that do the best are actually the ones that sound the most human. So I actually think the power of AI really comes in is where, let's say, like we were saying earlier, like they're in a consultation and the doctor in a field writes, this person was concerned about X, they wanted this outcome. If we can use AI to basically come like in a small snippet of that email to basically custom write a reason as why they should come back to the clinic based around the initial doctor's notes, and you can give the doctor advice on how to write those notes so AI can, do it. We can basically, across 5,000 clients, we can come up with custom emails that are specifically made, and it sounds personalized as if the owner has literally written it to them, but across thousands of people. So that can be the same case for an email sequence of 10 emails over a year. So it can change, the reasoning. So it can come up with the first reason on the initial email as to why this person should come in based on the notes of the doctor on the consultation. And then the second one, it can do something slightly differently with a different angle. So I see power in AI in personalizing client interactions at scale. However, the issue is that AI is fundamentally complicated, and that's why softwares like Pabau, or you can work with an agency to help you kind of set up these types of things. It's not as simple. It's more complicated. So integrating AI, there's definitely power there, but it's something that you're going to have to look externally from your clinic to kind of bring a professional in, or have a high quality patient management software to basically take as much of that off your plate as possible.
Cool. One thing that I want to ask you, actually, in your expertise, how personal should those emails or should those SMS notifications be? And if they're more personal, does it mean that they're more likely to convert or for them to be effective? I'm quite interested in hearing your thoughts about this specifically. How, if we, for example, write, let's say, or add the signature of the doctor on the very bottom, or add the first name of the client in the subject, how far in terms of personalized we should make it? And if we make it more personal, does that actually mean that it's going to be more effective?
Yeah. So any kind of sequence and kind of marketing kind of effort, I see it as a stream. You guys might be able to hear a stream in the background. It's like, imagine you've got the source of the river up here, and then you've got the mouth of the river down here. The mouth is bookings and ROI, and the stream up here is the email or the text message landing in the inbox. Now, you have to identify, and you need a software that can identify this. You need to identify where do you need to work on. Because, if you're trying to integrate AI on how can I make this email super personal to try and get more bookings, but only 20% of people are opening the email, then you need to fix that initial instance for it to actually flow smoothly. So it's like the stream is being blocked simultaneously. And when you keep removing each stone and you keep optimizing and you keep like tracking the data, you're then able to get the stream running smoothly out the mouth. So like if you're going to be working on the email, or let's say you're working on, how your booking system's set up to get more bookings, but only 10% of people are opening the initial email, then you're not only wasting time, but you're losing money. So yes, like it needs to be personalized. Like the more personalized, the better. And the more personalized reasoning you give to that prospect of why they should come back in, and like what offers that you've got running, what promotions, why they should come back in, that helps. However, it's only like a small portion of the picture, and there's probably other obstacles stopping the flow of bookings coming through. So you have to have a software that can kind of track this kind of your open rate, your click-through rate, your link click-through rate. So when they click on the email, how many go actually click off the email onto your booking system? So it's softwares that can track that is what's going to give you that laser focus of what to work on to increase the bookings from your campaign.
Cool. I've also read somewhere that if you, for example, include a merge tag so that it automatically populates, let's say, the first name of the client, it's more likely for them to actually open it because they see their name on the actual subject or within the email as well. And that's actually a very good point that, for example, I've seen also quite a lot of businesses do is, for example, they run some sort of automation. They have the automation run, let's say, every day. And then after the 7th day, they track the information, or they track it after the 3rd day, for example. And they see, for example, how many of them have failed, meaning they haven't been sent to the client, how many were open, how many were sent to, what was the total percentage of the clients. And also, for example, if you send out an SMS or email campaign, you of course want to know your bounce rate. You of course want to know other information like, for example, the click-through rate. If you have an online bookings, then you would like to know at which point have they stopped, or how many of them following that campaign have they actually completed the booking. So there's quite a lot of data to work with here. So that's very, very important to note.
It's crucial. Like you have to have a CRM system that have those capabilities. Otherwise, you're just stabbing the dark. You know, you're sending emails and you're spraying and praying, as they say. So yeah, it's a crucial part of it.
All right. For example, let's say if for anybody listening that's just starting out with automations, let's say this is the first automation that they're going to run following this podcast. What would you recommend to be the first automation that they run?
SMS database reactivation. That's primarily the number one. Send across just a simple text message. Hi, Sarah. It's either your name or the clinic's name here. We have a small promotional offer, like when you get this, you get this. Maybe you get some free skincare or free skin analysis. So a lot of clinics have skin analysis machines, which enable them to basically analyze someone's skin,
and the layers, right?
Yes,
Things like
and the
that,
layers. Yeah. I've had it done myself, and it was probably the most scared I've ever been. I definitely don't have the perfect skin, but what it allows you to do is basically show data around your skin. It's not just an opinion, a medical professional's opinion. So what a lot of clinic owners like to do is they offer that as the loss leader, and they basically say like, "Hi Sarah, it's X clinic here. Just want to let you know that we're offering a free skin analysis. If you want to see how your last treatment has affected your skin and how much it's improved it, then come into clinic and get a free skin analysis and then consultation and just reactivate the existing client." So 100% SMS database reactivation is the first one, is a go-to.
So that will be related to clients that have not visited the business for a while, right? So we want to reactivate them to get them in the door again. Yeah. Okay. And for example, after that initial automation, is there any other automation that you would recommend to get somebody started?
I mean, you can do follow-ups. So like you can sequence. So send the first text. And this kind of gets more complicated. Again, it might be something that you kind of outsource, but like you can have a part of the automation where it's like if they reply, then it like notifies you, and you know you can then contact them. But if they don't reply in 48 hours, send them another text, and then if they don't reply again, send them another one. Obviously you gotta be careful because you don't want to be spamming your existing clients, especially. But yeah, you can implement follow-ups as well. You can also add on emails if that's something you want to do in the first instance, depending on how tech savvy you are. But yeah, you can either try and do it yourself, or you can look to hire in someone else just to kind of manage this side of the business for you for relatively cheap.
Yeah, cool. So initial would be reactivation, then would be follow-ups related to the treatments that they've had or they're about to have, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So like around the treatments themselves.
Yeah.
Cool. In terms of general marketing and getting new clients in or retaining clients, is there any other type of campaign you would recommend for the clients to do? Like, for example, referrals or review generation or loyalty, perhaps? Is there something that you recommend for the businesses to do in order to capture that side of the clients?
Yeah, I mean, you can do an automated Google review reactivation. You can say you get like a gift voucher of £10 off if you leave us a Google review, which takes 30 seconds to do. And that's a good way of, you know, getting your Google review rankings higher, which will then post your website higher on Google, which is like the secret hack of SEO.
That's a great advice for anybody listening, actually, because they would either use Pabau reviews or Google reviews if they're, of course, a Pabau client. And that's actually a great point. So, for example, like a voucher that they would get if they leave a review that they can spend, let's say, for example, in the next, month or two, something like that.
Yeah, in the next month or a couple months. But yeah, that's a great way of getting more reviews. We do that for some of our clients. The more Google reviews you get, the higher up on Google you go, which means the more bookings you get long term. So like the long term side of marketing is primarily based around how well you can be found. And if somebody searches up for a clinic wanting a treatment and you're at the top, they're going to look into you first. And if they like what they see, they'll book.
In terms of Google review, actually, I'm very interested about this. Does it relate to, for example, the website itself, of how well it ranks in terms of keywords, or in terms of like when you're writing it in the search engine?
So Google uses this kind of their new thing. It's called Google My Business Profile, GMB. And basically what it does, you've got like this profile on Google. And it's usually, when you search on maps, those like the businesses will come up on the left, but their website won't be there. But if you click it, it's their website. So you kind of get your profile on Google, and that comes down to your reviews, your website, etc., your location, and that's kind of how you can be found. So yeah, Google does take into account the amount of reviews you get, and that puts you higher, which will then give you more revenue. And if you can automate the way of sending these Google reviews to 5,000 people, for a voucher, you can easily get like a couple hundred of reviews overnight. And if you're the only one leveraging the power of automation in your local area, you're going to be able to get a massive unfair advantage over the clinics who only have a couple of reviews, or the reviews that they've worked 10 years to get, when you can just get them, in basically a day, or a week. So Google reviews are very important. And actually what you can do through automation as well, is filter. So you don't want to send a client who would rate you 2 stars a review request. And that would be not great, because you're going to, if you get 1 negative review on Google, you're no longer going to be able to get 5-star rated. It'll be 4.9. You don't want that. So what you can do, you can set up a conditional workflow. I don't know about Pabau, but we'll cut that out. But you can set up a conditional workflow, and instead of sending them a Google review request, you can just say, "Hey Sarah, how was your last treatment? What would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 5? If they say 5, then they get the Google review request, and it will take them straight there, and they can do that review on that. If they say 4 and below, then they'll be like, oh, the text will come back, and it'll be like, oh, what went wrong? And the team will get notified, and the Google review won't be sent. So you can kind of filter that as well. So you only get the positive reviews.
Yeah, and that's actually something that we also have as part of Pabau, where we have an integrated Pabau reviews section. So what it does is basically you can allow it to filter only 4 or 5-star reviews to be sent to Google, which means that if the review is bad, it's going to stay in Pabau. And that way we filter only the good reviews to be forwarded to Google, which of course means that we're going to get the good reviews on Google. And one thing that is very important about that is that you not only in terms of your average, because it's going to shoot down if you get a 1-star review. Also, on the other side, you can't really delete a review that is on Google. So if it's there, it's there. That's basically it, until, of course, the client decides otherwise. But for example, if you keep it internally in terms of if the client had a negative experience, then you can work on the overall process. Is there something that was missing? Is there something that we could have done better? And basically improve the entire process as it is. That's very interesting. Thank you for that. In terms of other types of marketing side things, except for let's say Google review campaigns, is there anything else that you would recommend?
I think the thing is, so a lot of local business owners have a pre-framed mindset around, how do I leverage Google? How do I leverage Facebook? How do I market to my existing audience? How do I feature in PR? And ultimately, if you do nothing well, you need to do everything. If you do a couple things really, really well, you don't need to do everything else. So if you've basically got a management system which can nail the automation side of things to existing audiences and Google reviews, and then you've got a patient acquisition system which only is on Facebook and Instagram, however, it's so effective, you don't need to be going elsewhere. So many clinic owners will, and also that's costly. So, a clinic owner will run ads on Google, they'll run ads on Facebook, TikTok, they'll spend on thousands on companies to do SEO, and build a website and do everything. And what happens is the marketing department becomes really expensive because they do nothing well. Where if they just go very lean, they put a good proportion of income into one acquisition channel, but they also invest in an agency to basically act as the riverbank to direct the flow of patients straight into the clinic's front door, then basically you can get much higher ROI, even though the revenue generated is the same, but the amount it costs to achieve that revenue in the first place is much lower, which, you know, if you can halve your cost of investing into marketing, that doubles your ROI instantly. So the most effective way of increasing ROI is not only to attract more patients, but it's also to do it in a really efficient way through automation and just specialists in certain patient acquisition channels. So it's very easy to spread yourself too thin and look for other exciting opportunities, especially when something's really working. You know, if Facebook and Instagram or you've reactivated your existing databases working for you, you'll be like, what else can I do? But really it's all about doubling down into those channels, investing more money into what's currently working to achieve a higher outcome, rather than, you know, starting to distract all your energy in other places, which will actually make everything less successful.
Thank you for that. We can discuss other bits of the automations and like other types of marketing strategies as well. One thing that I'm very interested in is how to, from the business standpoint, how do we get those high ticket or high value clients? How do we attract those kinds of clients? How do we attract them from potential clients to long-term existing clients? As of course, high value clients would produce a lot of revenue for the business, and in a way, the Pareto distribution is also the same for them as well. 20% of the clients would generate 80% of the value. So we're trying to get as much of those high value clients as possible.
Yes. Yeah. So a lot of clinic owners this is usually the reason why they work with a marketing company, is because they always say to me like, oh, well, you know how to target the women with lots of income. Fundamentally untrue. We don't target on income. Like, it's a misconception in this industry that higher the income, the more money they spend. What we've got to do is we need to work back as what makes somebody who spends a lot of money spend that money. We need to understand it. And when we can understand it, we're going to know how to put together a patient acquisition system which solely attracts those ideal 20%, which results in 80% of the revenue. So the fundamental kind of belief that I want clinic owners to adopt is that their treatments are moving people away from pain in their life to a better outcome. They're not enhancing, they're reducing pain. And what I mean by pain isn't literally like pain on their face. I mean as in discomfort in their current way of life. Quite a lot.
It's more a mindset thing, isn't it, as well?
Exactly. Yet when you look at your existing clients and what drove them, it was usually because like they had concerns. It was really bothering them beforehand, and you gave them that transformation. And that's their existing client base. So when we're marketing to get dream patients, we're not targeting on income. We're targeting on attracting the types of women who are in the most discomfort. And if we're able to do that, they're going to spend their money. So it's like, let's say we're driving on the motorway. We're driving down the motorway and we see a billboard on the side. And let's say, for example, I am a farmer. I'm a guy, I have a farm. If I see a billboard on the side of the motorway which has a farmer on it and his family, that's going to attract my eyes more than the random person, other than the random person just being like, why is there a farmer on the side of the road? And therefore, as a farmer, I am basically going to read that sign and see what it's about. And it's the same thing with marketing. The reason why we get such bad clients that don't retain, that ruins the brand, and they're just terrible clients that don't spend a lot of money, is because when we discount, on Facebook, as people are driving by this digital billboard, it's catching the attention of the people that either don't have the money or don't understand the value of your treatments that you can provide. So these are the clients we're attracting. So we need to find a marketing strategy which will specifically capture the attention of the people who are in the most discomfort and they just want advice. And that's why we've come up with the free image assessment and treatment plan, is because the only reason somebody would take a selfie of their face is because they've got some kind of issue. They're aware that they have some form of skin damage, sun damage, acne, sagging jowls, just general signs of aging, changes in skin after menopause. They know they've got that and they just value some medical advice because they care about it. So running this type of campaign, we're only attracting the people who are in the most discomfort. And as we know, if we can do that, we're going to attract the types of clients who therefore spend the most. So that in terms of marketing, we need to be advertising to the point where we're keeping the patient and the prospective patient at the center of everything based around their concerns. If we're able to do that, we're able to attract the types of patients who are fundamentally uncomfortable in their life. So when we position the outcome as opposed to the treatment, it's going to resonate more. So they retain and they spend more money. And also one of the small little perks that we have found for our clients is that you actually boost your brand's image in the local audience. And the reason for that is because people see your clinic as the one who wants to give back to the audience. They want to help people. And constantly discounting your treatments is almost like first it's what everybody does. And, if there's only 10 clinics and they're all discounting.
And also it perceives like the value of the treatment is also the perceived value from the standpoint of the client is decreased because you're decreasing it by 50%.
Exactly, yeah. So not only are you devaluing your existing clients who spend a lot, but you're also rewarding the clients that don't value your treatments and can't afford your treatments. So if you run this campaign, no one else is running it in your local audience unless they're working with us. And it's a good way of having yourself known to be the one who wants to give back, but genuinely, and use your medical knowledge to give back to your audience. And it's the law of reciprocity. When you give, people feel like they want to return that favor. And that's ultimately what this campaign does. And that's how you attract treatment clients on Facebook. 9 times out of 10, the clinic won't want to be doing these treatment plans themselves because they don't have the time. And only in that case, then they would consider working with us, as we would just do it for them. But if you feel like you're a clinic owner and you have a bit of time on your hands and you want to do this campaign and just see how it works, then run it, see what happens. If you get 120 selfies in 1 month, contact us and we will help do these treatment plans and convert these clients into appointments for you.
Cool. One thing that I wanted to ask you about is what kind of a role would the website play for the business in terms of how much of a conversion does it have in bookings, how much of conversion he has on package sales, on things like that. So if, for example, would it make a difference if, let's say, they're booking online, if they have an online booking portal? Would it be more beneficial if it was on, let's say, the header? If, for example, for package sales, if it would be better for that to be on the very top, on the header, or little things like that? How much of a role would that play in terms of bookings and in terms of revenue?
It's a huge factor, and it's like the saying of like running up to someone in the street and asking them to marry you, or marrying them on the first date. It's like you have to build the relationship and the trust and educate the client of what it is they're booking in for. Why are they coming into the clinic in the first place, and what can they expect in terms of outcome from visiting you? And let's say you're running an ad on Facebook and they click the link and it goes straight to a booking system. People aren't going to book in because, they don't know anything about why they would be doing that. So it's important that when you're marketing and when you're running an ad, that you've got some form of landing page which educates them around what it is they're going to look to book in for. And I actually believe that the way to get the most bookings is actually to call the client yourself, have a chat with them, talk about the clinic, talk about them, learn about them, and then say, well, look, I can book you in now if you'd like for a free consultation or whatever that is, and do it on the phone. So it's a matter of educating someone before they look to book in. Otherwise, it's literally like trying to marry someone on the first date.
Yeah, to basically get them to a place where they're not just random people that have visited the website or visited or opened the ad or have seen the ad, but a matter of getting them to be sales ready or book ready. You mentioned also to have that information on the landing page as well. Would that mean that we would need for different types of treatments, different landing pages that we can redirect them as a more effective approach, or is it like a general landing page that could work?
So it all comes down to intent of the viewer. If the viewer is searching on Google what treatments are out there, and treatments for acne, right? You can have a massive website with all your treatments on it that they can just find acne and read about it. But when we're paying for an ad on Facebook, we need to have it. It's like there's a phrase called analysis paralysis. When you present somebody with too many options, they basically don't know what they're looking at, and then if you don't know what you're looking at, you don't automatically say yes, I'll book in.
Is the same thing as if you have two less of choice, for example. So if you have one or two compared to like 1,000, yeah.
It's like when you go to the ice cream shop and they've got vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate, as opposed to like all these crazy flavors. Like it's just much quicker and they make more sales. So it's the same thing with paid advertising. And it's a part of our service. We build these landing pages, which is very specific. And to be honest, it's not about the treatments. In our case, it's mainly about sending a selfie in, telling us about their concerns, and then we will contact them. It's very important to keep things very tight and confined, unless it's kind of your just general website where you need to tell them everything about you.
Cool. Okay. One thing that I wanted to touch on as well as a part of the general marketing strategy, but also in client retention as well as client generation, so new clients. How, for example, a referral program or a referral campaign would tie into the global marketing strategy that a business should have?
Yeah. So, with marketing, you pay a marketing company and you pay Facebook. You are actively investing. So your ultimate goal, and obviously you've got other factors like the types of clients, but we've already spoken about that. But your ultimate goal primarily is return on investment. So let's say that you invest in marketing, and you invest in, ads and an agency. And let's say hypothetically in the next 3 months, they bring you 100 dream clients where you can then transform their lives, create massive impact, etc.
So ideal in terms of the ideal person that could actually be the best fit for the business.
Somebody who has real concerns and that business can actually address them. So that's how you create the most impact. So let's say your ROI was 20x. You got so every £1 you put in, you got £20 back. Now the most lucrative strategy is to implement a referral program where you take those 100 clients and then you present them with an opportunity to get rewarded for bringing their friend. And now let's say on average that those 100 clients brought an extra 50. What we're now doing is that we've just strapped on an extra 50 clients from the initial investment into that marketing campaign. So we basically absolutely maximized everything you could physically get from getting new clients in by presenting clients with an opportunity to bring their friend who also has the same concerns and you can give the same transformation to in. And that's ultimately how you create an exponential marketing campaign. Is like, instead of pay every £1 you pay, you get 20 back, and the curve is just a straight line. every £1 you pay and you get 20 back, if that 20 pounds that you got back, or whatever currency you're in, also brought back an extra 30, what starts to happen is the more pounds you put into it, the more comes, because the more clients you get, the more they bring. So that's how you can basically turn a linear growth path of investing into marketing, which is the standard, into an exponential. And what happens eventually is, like, once you've generated like 500 new clients, you actually don't need to invest into marketing anymore, because your net is so large that those 500 new patients are going to bring so many more referrals in, and actually you can start pulling back your marketing spend because you're at the top of the exponential growth curve. Or you can spend double your ad spend and just go all in, and then open another clinic and get more machines and hire more doctors. So it depends what your goals as a clinic owner are, whether it's personal fulfillment, you want to remove yourself, or you want to be in this, you want to grow the biggest clinic in the country that you're based in, and eventually exit it for 8 figures. So it really depends, but the way you would do that is by initially investing in marketing, and then implementing a referral program, like the one in Pabau, to basically take you to the next level. You can also do that with your existing clients as well. It's a great way, but if you're really looking to grow your clinic like viciously, then pairing paid marketing to get new clients in with referrals is how you basically can destroy your competition.
So you get, for example, that side of things where not only existing clients that you already have, you let them know that you have a referral program, but also for every new client that they come in, basically you let them know that you have a referral program, and then if they for example refer you 1 or 2 or 5 or how many ever people there are, in that case they would get X amount of a voucher, for example, or account balance or something like that, that regardless they would still spend back in the actual business itself. So you're still getting additional revenue from that. And it's quite an interesting bit to connect that paid side of the marketing with the referral.
It's another connection, which I actually believe is one of the largest opportunities of 2024 and 2025, is that we understand that pairing a referral program with a new patient acquisition system is powerful. A lot of clinics, what they do is they get influencers in. And you can basically, let's say you get an A-list celebrity, or maybe like a C-list celebrity, off like a local TV program in for treatments, which many of our clients do. You can basically set them up with a referral program. And if you can get it so it rewards someone on booking a consultation in Pabau, then what you can do is, like, you can get that influencer to take a video in your clinic, post it to 50,000 viewers in London, that they love it here, that they've had that transformation. And then that influencer is then heavily incentivized to promote your clinic, because they're going to get a kickback off it. And if they've got 100,000 viewers on social media, and even if 1%, so 1% of 100,000 is 1,000 potential customers. If they got 1,000 potential customers into your clinic, you're winning. The influencer's going to basically be able to almost buy your clinic at this point, but like, it's heavily incentivized them. And then let's say those 1,000 people that come in, then we're talking about this new patient acquisition strategy with referrals. You show your referralship program to the new 1,000 people that come in, they bring their friends, and that's how you ultimately, blow up your clinic. So that's another really powerful thing, is pairing referral marketing and affiliate programs in with influencers and marketing. And if you're a big clinic and you really, you have budget to spend, you can do it all in one go, and smash 2024 and 2025.
Cool. In terms of, for example, if it's, let's say, a smaller business, let's say they don't have a budget to do all of this, what would you recommend for them to start with? Is it to start with all of them but a bit less in terms of budget, or to focus on, let's say, just referrals, or focus on just affiliate, or focus on just paid, let's say?
Yeah, so I see referral as like, I love analogies. Man of analogies. Let's say you start the engine in the car, right? The car's running. Now you press the accelerator and it starts revving. I see referral marketing as the accelerator to whatever you have running. And if you don't have a consistent, busy clinic, then working on referrals probably isn't the strategy that's going to give you the highest ROI relative to your input of time and investment. As a smaller clinic owner, I would be focusing more on the basics and focusing on starting the engine. And once you've got started, then look at referrals. And the way that you can do that is, work on your brand, work on your website, start posting more consistently on social media, maybe hire a social media manager. SEO you can also do. PR is another good one. So like if you're a small clinic and then you get featured in something like the Tatler or whatever is in your country, that's another good way to help build that authority and make you more desirable and increase that perceived value that clients have. So when it comes to marketing and when it comes to the referrals marketing, everything you do is just going to be more kind of accelerated. So I see the referral marketing more for established clinics who have got that client base, and less so for the smaller clinics.
Great, excellent. I think we can wrap it up at that point. You can let us know how other people, the viewers of this podcast, can reach out to you and get in touch with you.
Yeah, so we're called Patient Centrum. We help clinics get dream clients fast, but without discounting their treatments, basically protecting their reputation and the three things we've spoken about. If you want to contact us, just search us up on Instagram, Patient Centrum. You can scroll through the content, do a bit of learning yourself, and then just send us a DM.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Joe, for taking the time. Thank you for flying in from the UK.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, of course.
It's been a pleasure.
That was it for podcast episode number 2. Thank you all for listening and for being a part of this podcast. Like, share, and subscribe for more awesome content, and I'll see you in the next one.